Welcome to the Orange Catholic Foundation podcast. My name is Rand Sperry, and I am CEO of Sperry Commercial and Sperry Equities here in Irvine, California. And I have with me Randy Redwitz, who is the CEO of Redwitz and Company here, and I believe you're in Irvine as well. And we are going to be interviewing today Oscar Gonzalez, and Oscar is co-CEO of Northgate Gonzalez Market, a family-owned supermarket chain that delivers authentic and fresh products to the Hispanic community in Southern California. Currently, Northgate Market has 42 stores with more than 6,500 associates. Wow, that's quite remarkable.
That is amazing.
When did you start, Oscar? We haven't started the questions yet, but I'm just curious how long it took you to get to this. Was it 1980?
The first store was opened in 1980 in the city of Anaheim.
Oh, okay.
Wow,
Great.
that's amazing growth.
Well, Oscar, by the way, is a graduate of Pepperdine University Executive MBA program. He serves on the boards of the Food Marketing Institute, the Western Association of Food Chains, and Homeboy Industries. He also has served on the board of Unified Grocers and the Coca-Cola Retailing Council. In addition, Oscar is active in the Young Presidents Organization and the Tugboat Institute. So welcome to the program. And by the way, earlier this year, Oscar and his family received the Farmers and Merchants Bank Lifetime Achievement Award at the Orange Catholic Foundation's 19th Annual Conference on Business and Ethics. So welcome again. And by the way, next year, I believe around in April, will be our 20th annual conference. That's going to be a big deal. We're gonna try to get back everyone who's been honored over the years. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But today it's about you. And Randy, I'll have you start with the first question to Oscar.
Okay, Oscar, thank you very much for being with us. First question, and I think it's a most natural question, is where did the idea of Northgate Market come from? And how did you start the company?
Yeah, so before I answer the question of where it came from, I'm going to tell you a little bit of history, and then I'll get to the answer, which is pretty fascinating. But
okay.
Yeah, so look at my dad in the early 60s was in the shoe business in Mexico, and frankly he had been in the business for 20 years, so sometime in 1950, and he had a small shoe shop and a shoe factory where all my family and many other kids and young adults worked in his town in Jalostotitlan in Jalisco, Mexico. And so my dad was, I would say he was in his mid 40s, and unfortunately his business burned down. And so he, at that time he had 10 kids. I still was not born at that time, but I was told. And so my dad had to come to the United States to find a job to help pay for his debt that he had incurred from the fire of his shoe store. So really, it's really the epitome of the American dream, where he came to the States. He actually worked as a dishwasher at the Biltmore Hotel with another brother of his, and for a number of years. And so his thought was to pay his debt off, and so my mom basically was raising the kids in our hometown, and then my father would then go back every year. He never opened his business back up in Mexico, but he would go back every year. And then eventually my mother, and they were very close. They were, they both have passed now, but both were married for 57 years.
Wow.
And they were very close. So this separation was really tough for both of them.
Sure.
But they had a common purpose, was to raise their kids and find a better life for them. So the sacrifice was well worth it. And so in 1976, my father was able to get visas or green cards for for me and the rest of our family. And we came to the United States, to La Mirada. And that's where we all sort of, it was a kind of a great reunion, because by that time, a few of my older brothers were already living here in the States with my dad.
Mhm.
And so the family was reunited in 1976.
Wow.
And it was beautiful. I mean, it was just a beautiful thing. I was the youngest of the 13 kids. And so it in fact, that was kind of when I got to really kind of get to know my older brothers. But so 1976, we reunite. In 1980, my dad and my brother Miguel, who's the third oldest, decided to mortgage their homes, and they bought what was really a liquor store in the city of Anaheim, on Anaheim Boulevard. And so July 2nd of 1980, they opened the doors, and frankly, there was, just my family, brothers and sisters, father, that started working in that store. So the answer to how did Northgate come about, they ran out of money, and they literally didn't have a whole lot of money. And the sign in the store was a high pylon sign that said Northgate Market. And they said, we can't afford to replace the,
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness.
So they kept the name. And then with time, we said, well, now everybody knows it as Northgate Market. So that's how
I want to change the name
Northgate
now.
Market story began.
Wow. My goodness, Oscar. That's amazing story. Just
Well,
amazing.
Your family really knows how to turn lemons into lemonade.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, two challenges turned into great opportunities. The story right there. It's just
from shoes through liquor to groceries.
Couldn't afford to take the sign down, so what the heck? Let's keep it Northgate.
That's
I
right.
thought there was some other reason for that name, and that's a much better story than what
the beautiful thing is that the Northgate name, if you translate it into Spanish, it means the Puerta del Norte, which is the gate of the north. So it means something for us. It came from Mexico to the north, to North America. So
Well, that's
story.
That's
beautiful. That is fantastic. Incredible.
All right, so number 13, and I know that you actually call yourselves, I almost was going to do it in your intro, but no one would have gotten it. But I know that in the family, you guys kind of go by your number. So anyway, and that brings me to my question. You've got so many family members. How did you guys actually structure the company? Because it sounds like at least 12 of you work in the company. I mean, as directors of some sort. And I just know, I've got 6 children in my family, and Randy has 5. And it's like, I just wonder how you manage that and everyone gets along, because it seems like, you all came to the Business and Ethics Conference, and it seems like you guys get along pretty well. And obviously with 46 or 42 stores and growing, you're making it happen. So how do you do that? Who does what?
Rand, it's really been an evolution. I think like any business, I mean, it started where there was just family in the first store. We didn't have any employees. It was just the family working. So initially it was all of us in one store. Somebody, was the checker. The other guy was a butcher. The other guy was mopping at night. So it was just a beautiful labor of love amongst the family. As we grew and opened up, a second store, we sort of, so divided and conquered, and we had a number of different brothers and sisters in each store. And then eventually, as we continue to grow, frankly, my brother Miguel had a dream, and his dream was, hey, let's have a store for each sibling. So,
oh my goodness.
And here's where lucky 13 comes. Like, I'm number 13, and I'm saying, when am I going to get my store? So it was a wonderful vision, and a great sort of just inspiring. So really, I'll tell you, I think it's really been interesting to see how we as a family have found our place in some ways, and then how do we position ourselves to contribute. So it went from all of us working in a store to eventually each one of us was a store director. We managed our own store. And then eventually as the business grew, administration and other areas of support grew. So we ended up sort of wearing multiple hats where, some of us were running stores and I was in charge of HR and my brother was in charge of procurement and so on. And it's been really an evolution, but I will tell you, I think the beauty has been that we have been able to wear a lot of hats, be flexible in terms of where we contribute and how we contribute. But today, my brother Miguel and I are co-CEOs. We've got a strong, professional senior management team that's comprised of, some family and many non-family members. We've created for my brothers and sisters that are no longer, call it in an operating role, we have a beautiful position called the owner ambassador role. And so their job is to go out into the stores and make sure that we're reinforcing, our values, our culture, making sure that people are being treated fairly, really keeping a pulse on, what's most important to us, which is our people. And so it's been an evolution. We have a number of G3, Generation 3 members in the business now that are occupying, director roles and some, one VP role. But it's been really just an evolution of, how we organize. I will tell you, I think there's a common sort of depth to why we do what we do as a family. And I think we feel we're stewards of this business. And so we want to make sure that, we pass it all along better than how we received it. And so that's really kind of the way we make decisions, and we want to make sure we can leave our egos aside and we can do what's right for the family and for the organization. And it's never easy and it's never like linear, but I think we always will tell you that we always get to the right answer. And we've been blessed as a family and certainly as a business.
Well, you mentioned the fact of the G3 coming in, so that'll really bring in another interesting dynamic as your children and your brothers and sisters' children get involved in it. And you'll have plenty of people to overlook this market chain, that's for sure. Just before Randy goes to the next question, how many grandchildren does your parents have? Grandchildren.
All right, the count as of today is 54.
Oh my
54
goodness.
grandchildren, not great grandchildren, but grandchildren.
54 grandchildren. Yes.
Well, you beat Carl Karcher. He had 43. So
yeah.
So you guys have taken over the Orange County business legacy in terms of grandchildren and people involved in the company. That's just awesome. All right.
My wife and I have only 8, and I feel now like a poor performer here.
You better get them going, Randy.
It's all about competition here, right?
Yeah, right.
I have 4, and my wife says no more. 4 is enough.
That's great. Oscar, your story and your family attributes there are so incredibly powerful. But you've really, in a very tough industry. I mean, the grocery business is a tough, generally low margin industry. But you've got 42 stores right now, and that's an amazing expansion in a very tough marketplace. Now I know you're a little more specialized than a general grocery store for sure, but is there any secrets of success there as to expansion and how you stepped from one store to the next store to the next store, and sort of what's the goal and objective?
Yeah, I really believe that in some ways our secret sauce is our family and our values, our culture, and what we stand for.
Yeah.
We happen to be in the grocery business, and certainly it's a really tough business on all fronts. But it's been very rewarding for us. And I will tell you, it's business has been around now for 42 years, and it seems like it's been fast, but from a guy that's been in it a long time. And I remember I started with diapers, and I'm probably going to end up with diapers in this business. But it's been, I think the main focus has been sort of two parts. One is it is all about the people. It is about our associates. And then secondly, it's about like really understanding your customer and how the customer is changing. And frankly, I think we've been, we were blessed to be in the right place at the right time. I think if you look at our niche, our focus has been, Hispanic communities, and so the growth of the Hispanic community has been significant. And so we've been making sure that as we grow, that we're growing in areas where our customers are obviously in. And then secondly, that our products and our services are relevant to the changing customer, because even though our target, customer has been the Hispanic, the Mexican, sort of Mexican ethnicity, the reality is that our customer base is growing because not only do people of Mexican descent like me love Mexican food, but it's become a very mainstream product that many others want. And our focus has always been, what is the best quality we could bring to these neighborhoods? Because I think one of our sort of realizations early on was that just because you were a low income, Hispanic, customer didn't mean that you didn't want quality products. And it didn't mean that you wanted to shop in a dirty store. People expect good quality. Our customers expect good quality, good value, cleanliness, clean environment. And I think that at the end of the day, it shows respect. And I think that's really what, being of, the same ethnicity and growing up in many ways the same way as our customers have grown up, we understand what they want and what they value. And I think that's been our, that keeping that pulse and knowing that and knowing how it's evolving has given us a great opportunity, not only to serve our existing customers, but of growth.
That's fantastic.
I was doing the math. You basically have opened a store every year since you started. So yeah. 42 years and 42 stores. That's pretty cool. That's great. Now, how do you incorporate the Gonzalez family? How do they incorporate, because it's not just you, it's your entire family, your faith, your Catholic faith, into the business environment of Northgate?
Yeah, I would say my mom would say, how do you not incorporate your faith into your business? Because business is so challenging, and you've got to make sure that you have belief that, there's a higher purpose and higher being. But there's look at my mother passed away 4 years ago. She was an amazing woman of faith, very strong Catholic. I'll share this story, but my mother was a devout follower of the Virgin of Assumption, and that's the patron saint of our hometown. And so every store we have ever opened, my mother would always send an image of the Lady of Assumption. And so we continued that even though after she's passed, where every time we open a store, we have an image of La Virgen de la Asunción. And that's one way. Certainly my mother was a woman of prayer. So, for us, whether we're having a family meeting, or now that we have a larger team, we start every meeting with prayer. And, for us, it's about respect as well in terms of our faith, but, we also respect everyone else's faith. So we've really been able to build a beautiful kind of, environment where our faith is important, and we're not apologetic about it. We're respectful, but we also recognize that it's important to us. It's important to, how we've built this company, and we frankly try to manifest it in as many ways as we can. But certainly prayer, especially in meetings, especially in tough times like the pandemic, that that there's a higher being that's guiding us and helping us.
Well, and the fact that Northgate gives back so much to the community, I mean, which is part of our faith as well. I certainly know that for a fact. So you're such an asset as Northgate Market to the entire community. That's really great. All right, Randy, we got time for one more question.
So Oscar, what's exciting about Northgate right now? What's an exciting new announcement or venture or expansion or happening in Northgate?
Yeah, look at, we are very excited about growth, and growth is beautiful in a business, because it gives particularly in a business that has so many employees and so many people that start at the bottom as a box boy, as a grocery clerk. So growth gives people opportunity. And so, we opened our first store in the Inland Empire a year ago, and a year and a half ago, I'm sorry. But so the Inland Empire is a great area of growth for us, an opportunity. And we have 3 new, new stores that will be opening up there in the next 12 to 24 months.
Wow.
That's really exciting for us.
That's fantastic.
Frankly, we've been working on our, 5-year strategic plan, and we've got a lot of exciting, really exciting growth opportunities. And frankly, there's also a lot of excitement. I mentioned some of the transitions from my brothers and sisters into other roles. I think there's a lot of excitement around how do we incorporate that next generation into the business. And, certainly, we have a number of other sort of, exciting plans that are consistent with growth. And we're looking at, let me sort of back up and tell you this. I think when we grow and we open a new store, our belief is that we don't just open a new box with, beautiful produce and grocery. We really believe we're there to improve that community. And I think that's where everybody wins. Obviously the community wins, our associates win, business wins. And so growth takes on a different meaning for us.
Yeah.
And so, we're excited about growth. The grocery business is a really tough environment, but we're in the right niche. And frankly, a lot of our growth is really in kind of retrenching and saying, okay, how do we become the best authentic Mexican prepared foods retail shop in the West Coast? And that's where we're going. We're trying not to put too many limitations in terms of how fast and where we go. We feel our model is pretty resilient and relevant.
That is fantastic. It's so thoughtful and so exciting. So very, very exciting.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate having Northgate Markets and the Gonzalez family as part of the community here in Orange County. You're certainly an asset to the economic environment and to the contributing to those in need and servicing not just the Hispanic community, but the entire community here in Orange County, and soon to be in the Inland Empire. Well, even greater. So we want to thank you for taking the time to be on our podcast today. And we wish you the very best, both as a family, as an individual, and as Northgate Markets. So thanks for coming on today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rand, and thank you, Randy.
Thank you very much, Oscar.
An honor to be a part of this. Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to go and visit one of your stores. I have to go do that now that you explained it so well.
Yeah,
Well, be happy
Thank
to
you.
they're
host you,
beautiful.
Randy.
They're really beautiful. Take care.
Thank you. Have a great
Bye-bye.
afternoon.
You too.